Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. How's it going, all you mentees? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today we kick off the best of 2024. And we're kicking it off with my favorite collected editions released in 2024. So let's go ahead and get started. Sorry, I just keep pointing because I'm that excited. And welcome back, everybody. Before going any further, a big thank you to our patrons for making videos like this possible. Could not be doing this without you all. So we are kicking off the best of 2024. I do this every year where I talk about my top 10 favorite releases, Marvel Omnis, favorite DC Omnis, Epic Collections, and eventually I get to my top 10 favorite reads of the year. That will probably be the last day of the year when I do that, because every day I have something planned to do, especially next Monday. I've got something very special at 1:30 p.m. and that's a live episode, and it will be a top 10 with my buddy Crushing Crisis, where we're just going to have to argue over something, and I want to keep it a surprise for right now. But yes, what you will not be seeing on this list are any Marvel Omnis, any Marvel Epic Collections, any DC Omnis. Those are their own separate categories. What you will see on this collection are books, collected editions, graphic novels that were released in 2024, maybe a reprint. And I base it all on the presentation, the restoration of the artwork, or sometimes just obscure books that have never been out and have come out for the first time in a collected edition. And let me tell you, every week I keep updating this list. At the end of the year, when I looked at the list of my favorite releases, box sets, collected editions, like oversized hardcovers, there were 45 of those, and I was like, oh, I got a lot of work to trim this down to 10. So smash that like button, please. That goes a long way for us here on the channel, and I hope you enjoy the list, and I would love to know what your favorite top 5, top 10 releases of graphic novels, collected editions, box sets in the year 2024 were. I Am Legion, the oversized hardcover edition. I love these coffee table books. This is printed by Humanoids, and it was one of my favorite releases because I had missed out on the big oversized format, and I'm a big fan of John Cassaday. And it's weird, when I did an overview of this, he was still with us, and he has since then passed away, so it's kind of weird to talk about him in the past tense. I was a big fan of his artwork because of just growing up in the 90s and then coming back to comics, and he was doing things like Captain America, and then of course Astonishing X-Men, which is what brought me back to comics. This is a beautiful edition by Fabian Nuri, and it is this alternate reality where in 1942 there's a global conflict and Nazis are at the height of their power, but we have vampires to deal with too, and the Allies are getting involved. Oh man, this story is awesome, but really it's about the presentation of this and why I chose it. Just Cassaday's art looks so amazing in this beautiful hardcover format, and it had been previously released before in a standard edition hardcover and trade paperbacks, but it's been a long time. They do limited releases for these oversized hardcovers, so absolutely, we are kicking it off with this one. This was one of my favorite releases this year, so thank you, Uncanny Omar, already trying to talk pretty one day. Thank you, Humanoids, for bringing it back to print. Slaine, the Horned God, 35th Anniversary Deluxe Edition box set. Now, I have to give a huge shout out to my buddy Beastlass, who sent this limited edition my way. I think it's limited to 1,000. Actually, I know it's limited to 1,000. It says so on the bottom there. This was released only through 2000 AD's website, Rebellion 2000 AD, put these limited, and they had no idea how well this was going to do. So much so that they just knocked it out of the park and released it, and it was gone with pre-orders. Whenever that pre-order went live, it was gone. And this is the one that has the 3 books in here, and they're all in beautiful hardcover format. What makes this edition so cool is that Slaine is a character much like Conan the Barbarian, and its savagery and its beautiful artwork that is inspired by Frank Frazetta. What makes this edition so cool is the fact that it's true size to the artwork when it originally was being made. So it's not shrunken down to like those 2000 AD collections of Judge Dredd. There are beautiful oversized artwork in here by Simon Beasley. It is written by Pat Mills, and it comes in this beautiful slipcase edition. Now, 2000 AD knew the popularity of this and didn't realize how fast it would go, but they still thought ahead and released it in this big oversized format that is in softcover. So they did think ahead, and I mean, it's still showing off the big, beautiful artwork in here. Now, I hope they see the popularity of these books and these hardcovers keep growing and growing, especially here in the United States, because of certain YouTube channels that keep singing praises about their stuff they put out there. But yes, in case you missed out on it and you still want to see what the artwork looks like, the trade paperback version is still widely available. The Complete Web of Horror hardcover from Fantagraphics. This is one that is near and dear to my heart because I knew nothing about the Web of Horror, and my buddy Dana is the one that actually put this together and has been working on this book for well over a decade. So it is a labor of love that has bounced around from different publisher to publisher. So Dana Marie Andre eventually took it to Fantagraphics, and they finally put it together in a big book. There was a limited edition slipcase that came and went. And as of this video, Fantagraphics is still low in stock with these. But this is such an obscure anthology of horror, and it's just something I've never read. This came really close to being one of my favorite reads. But the presentation and restoration really blew me away, especially when you're talking about work in here from Michael Kaluta and Bernie Wrightson and just obscure horror stories I've never seen or heard of. And even the unfinished issues are in here, though. Well, a little bit of them, not everything. And I'm sure every year they'll find more and more of these missing pages. So hopefully they will keep adding more and have an anniversary later on. But this was a labor of love, and the final product is a true testament of just how long Dana spent trying to get this book made, and it is an absolute beautiful book to add to anybody's collection, especially if you're a fan of horror comics. The Complete Harrow County Slipcase Edition. I love the fact that this one looks like a chest of drawers drawer where the skinless boy keeps his skin. So if you read it, you know. I mean, even the cover is the skinless boy, right? Like, oh, that's awesome. This particular collection right here is, I've done overviews. Most of these, actually, I've done overviews of. So if you just check back on the channel and look at the different playlists, you've seen these. I was a big fan of this series by Cullen Bunn and Tyler Crook, and this was published by Dark Horse Comics, and Dark Horse knew that those library editions were out of print. A couple of them are just near impossible to find, so what they did was put the size and dimensions of those library editions and made them into one big collection, a slipcase. It is a beautiful book, beautiful presentation. The spine is actually holding really strong, and this is a book that I love just flipping over and over because Crook's artwork is just mesmerizing. It is creepy and eerie, the stories in here about the Haints and Emmy. But if you haven't read it, actually, if you haven't read, there are omnibus editions, the softcover omnis that Dark Horse has released. Try it out that way. But if you fall in love with that first volume, absolutely go after this. Because it's just one of those books that who knows when it will be reprinted again, in case you find this video 6 months from now and you're like, oh, that's a really cool collection. But yes, deserves to be on this list. I was so excited when this book was announced, and here we finally are. Geiger, the Deluxe Edition. The reason this book made it on the list, first of all, I love Jeff Johns. I love Gary Frank. I love the colors by Brad Anderson. This is published by Image, and of course, it's the new Ghost Machine label that it's being, like all these wonderful creators are working on. I knew I had read the trade paperback, and I knew I was going to like the Deluxe Edition. I had no idea that the dimensions of this book were so big. So yes, to kind of give you an idea, this is an omnibus, and it's bigger than an omnibus. Again, I've done an overview of this if you want to check it out. I had no idea that it was going to be bigger than an omnibus, especially for the price point of $34.99. And it's a very awesome story. It is all about a man trying to save his family. I think it's a very endearing story about who the glowing man is and the mystery of the glowing man. Plus, it's doing a lot of world building too. And I know this isn't about my favorite reads of the year, but I feel like I needed to give the pitch as to what this is. Because the cover really doesn't do the book justice. There is a variant cover. There are a couple of variant covers available that are just dust jackets. But yeah, when I got this out of the box, I was like, whoa, that's a big book. And then I realized that it was the Geiger Deluxe edition, and it's taller than an oversized hardcover. And I was taken back. So I hope they keep releasing these hardcovers, these deluxe editions, in this dimensions right here. So we had Junkyard Joe, I think is the next one that comes out. And then next year we'll have a couple of more, I hope. The TEZUCOMI box set editions. I've done overviews of these. Now, these are, you can get a little version of it, like a manga-sized version of it. These were originally on Kickstarter through Magnetic Press's Kickstarter. And what these are, if you're a huge fan of Osamu Tezuka, the TEZUCOMI project was started in Japan. But it is a bunch of different artists paying tribute to the god of manga, Osamu Tezuka, and it is their vision of these different characters, whether it's Kimba the White Lion, or whether it's Astro Boy, Atom Boy, depending on where you live, of course, whether it's Unico. All of these characters that you have grown to love because of Osamu Tezuka are now being envisioned by different artists from around the world, and it was such a cool project. I know that Udon is publishing the TEZUCOMI Phoenix, or no, it's called Team Phoenix, and it's kind of like it's fan fiction based on the characters that appear here. I loved it. I thought it was a phenomenal presentation. I was blown away by Magnetic Press has put out some amazing books, but their Kickstarters are absolutely beautiful and worth the time to get. But yeah, TEZUCOMI absolutely belongs. As soon as I got it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is stunning. These 2 volumes are beautiful. And the fact that they give you like a little box version of the Tankoban size, like a manga size, and the little print, yeah. Beautiful Kickstarter. The complete René Tardi box set from Fantagraphics. This is by Jacques Tardi, who I am a huge fan of. His war books are amazing. Fantagraphics has done a great job bringing this over to America. If you've never read them, they are gritty and true to the actual events that happen. In this box set, it is stunning. It comes with 3 different books. It's The Prisoner of War in Stalag. And then the second book is My Return Home. So, you know, maybe spoilers. But then again, this is his father's memoirs about being a prisoner of war during this time. And the last one is The Prisoner of War in Stalag After the War. So these 3 books make up this story. And it's not a story. It's based on real events. And it is all about René Tardi, who was captured by the Germans in 1940. And forever his life was changed. He was sent to a camp where he became a prisoner of war, and it talks about his struggles there. And this box set just made it on the list. I got it in last week, and I was blown away at the size. I was blown away at the presentation, and of course the subject matter, because I understand it's not for everybody, right? Sometimes comics are an escape for people, and I get it. But this is for folks that just love either war comics or historical comics and graphic novels. If you've never read any Tardi, oh my gosh, do yourself a favor. His stuff is amazing and legendary, and this is no exception. I could not put it down. There's a lot of essays in here because it's all based on his dad and, of course, his return home. There's reference photographs in here. Part of René's actual journal and notebooks are in here, so much so that the end sheets. I need to do a proper overview. This is the one that I haven't done an overview of, but I need to do a proper overview on this one. It really took me back just how wonderful of a collection this is for something that was so horrible that happened in his father's life. And here we are decades later, almost a century later, reading about it in graphic novel format. And I absolutely love, I mean, that's an understatement. I love graphic novels. I love collected editions. And box sets like this and stories like this really remind me why I am here talking about these books on YouTube. The Savage Sword of Conan, Volume 9 by Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics, a collaboration between the license holders of Conan the Barbarian and the folks that are publishing Conan the Barbarian comics. People did not think this was going to happen. Not only did it happen, and we did wait for some delays. This was supposed to come out almost, well over a year ago. I'll just leave it at that. But the delays were for a reason. And the way the final product looks, the way it matches with the Marvel Omnis when they released Savage Sword of Conan and Conan the original Marvel years, it is spectacular. It is amazing. It is above and beyond what any publisher has done to make sure the people buying these books are pleased with the way that this looks, because it matches all the other spines of your Marvel Omnis. In case you've been buying volumes 1 through 8, or in case if you're missing one volume, it matches. I mean, they're just replacing some of the words, but I completely understand. The presentation is amazing. The restoration is great. And it feels like a Marvel Omnibus. It feels like they were even using, at times, the same printer that Marvel was using to put these books out. And Titan, I have to give it to Titan Comics because they've never done a book of this caliber. They've never done a huge, thick collection. They've done big, oversized books like the Elric books. They've done box sets. They've done hardcovers. They've done taller books, but nothing this thick, nothing of the page count that was well over 1,000 pages. That was new to them, and they were able to figure it out and still gave us an amazing product at the end, so we can keep enjoying the further adventures of our favorite Cimmerian. Oh my gosh, yes, I'm so glad that it's here, and people, you know, because at one time you see comments and they're like, oh, this is never coming out, there's no way, something got canceled, something's going on. But there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. It's not as easy as, hey, I want this book, where is it? But they delivered it, and oh my gosh, they are reprinting the Marvel Omnis left and right. I think 1 or 2 are coming out every month, in case you missed out on any of them. But yes, Conan. Scott Pilgrim, the 20th anniversary hardcover box set. The really cool thing about this one is that they released it in the original format in black and white, and then the colored format. So Brian Lee O'Malley's books are now back in print in these beautiful box sets published by Oni Press. And Oni Press hired the same person that did the Akira box set. So if you're familiar with the Akira box set, this has the same kind of build where the box opens from the very top so you can get your books out. And all 6 books with a special book in here, giving you all the extras. All the characters are back, not just Scott Pilgrim. And right around, you know, the time that the Netflix show was kind of blowing up. So for a generation, oh my gosh, it's crazy to think, 20 years, that had never read or even heard of Scott Pilgrim until the Netflix series. It's a true treat if you've never read it. You see the growth of these characters. You see the wrongs that they do. And then you see them just kind of have redemptions. And I think I talked a little bit about this when I did the overview of the box sets, that rereading these, it was like a time machine, like going back to a certain time when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, and just, it was a nice reminder of that era. How I both miss it and don't really miss it. But, oh yeah, absolutely belong on the list. For presentation alone, this was an amazing box set. And we are wrapping up the list with the Big Daddy here. This is David Mazzucchelli's Batman Year 1 Artist Edition, published by IDW. But a lot of this is because of Scott Dunbier. Actually, most of this, like the scanning, the restoration. If you're not familiar with Artist Edition, I've done several overviews on the channel. They are taking the original art from the artist, so the actual paper size that they use, scanning them, and then printing the artwork, the original artwork, before it goes through the colors, before it sees final print, in the size that the artist drew them in. And David Mazzucchelli's art looks phenomenal and stunning in this format. You can see all the mistakes and all the fixes in here, the letter. Oh man, this was such a treat. And I I was just blown away by how huge it was and how big the art is. And all these scenes that I remember, because I've been reading this story since, the 80s, like, they look so different when you're looking at the original art. So this is the one that I'm wrapping up the list with. There was a special cover that was only available through IDW's website, but the regular cover is still available. Now, any of the books I talked about today, if you're interested in them, check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was my list of the top 10 best collected editions released in 2024. Let me know in the comments what yours are. Even if you just had one, I would love to know what your favorite release was. I did not get everything. Like, there are things that are out there that people have told me about that they were like, oh my gosh, how could you not get this Kickstarter? Like, I haven't gotten my G.I. Joe Kickstarter. That probably could have made the list. The G.I. Joe Compendium was actually one of the ones that almost made the list, but it was such a nice surprise. I wanted to see what the box set looked at. Anyway, yeah, I would love to know what your list contains, whether it's your top 1, your top 5, your top 10, whether it was something that you were like, I never thought I would see this ever collected anywhere, and I can't believe it's here, or you just love the presentation or the art restoration. And keep coming back, because every day I will have this is almost like a Watch Mojo channel now, but it's the end of the year. It's how I celebrate, and I've been doing it for years this way. But that's it, everybody. Smash that like button on the way out. Thank you again for watching and being a part of the channel. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.